And we heard Joanna Newsom doing Inflammatory Writ from her record, The Milk-Eyed Mender. Joanna Newsom on piano on that one. She will be performing live today on Irwin's program during the Gender Bias segment at 2 o'clock, hopefully with her harp in tow.
2 songs there by Laura Veers from her album Carbon Glacier. The second called, I mistitled it on the playlist, it's Lonely Angel Dust. And the obsessive compulsive in me needs to fix it before I continue the set list. Rapture, also by Laura Veers from Carbon Glacier. We've got Joanna Newsom here in the studio. Scott Williams is engineering, and Scott has run out of the room at the last minute. And he's back and needs a splitter. Scott, how long you think? 1 minute. Then I'm not even going to put any more music on. Is that okay? Can we do this live on the air, the splitter?
Yeah, it's split.
Excellent. And there's Joanna. Okay. We got you live now. That's what freeform radio is about. It's about being not just non-professional, but unprofessional. Your microphone is on. You can say hi to the listeners if you want.
Hello.
It's all left or all right?
It's all, I think, both ears.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Your headphones work?
Headphones seem to work.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Wow, we found a set of cans that work. Amazing.
You just can't hear Irwin, right?
Can you hear me?
Not through
Do I have to put anything on
No.
mono here?
She's
or?
not going to be able to hear you through her headphones.
Yeah. But I can hear you.
Okay, so if I ask you questions later, you'll be able to. You can pull your headphones off when we do the interview segment if you want.
Okay.
And this will also amount to a sound check on the air. I've got the volume up here pretty loud.
Oh, we've sound checked.
I'm up to like +5. Is that okay?
But when she starts playing, it's going to be louder.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've got Joanna Newsom here, live in the studio. She performed in New York at a couple of venues last night, and she's performing in Philadelphia tonight at the Unitarian Church on Chestnut. Okay, take it away. Live in the studio here, Joanna Newsom.
We sailed away on a winter's day, refraid as malleable as clay. But ships are fallible, I say, and the nautical, like all things, fades. And I can recall our caravel, a little wicker beetle shell, with 4 fine masts and 18 sails, its bearings on Harpapalooza. Oh, my love, oh, it was a funny little thing to be the ones to have seen the sight of bridges and balloons makes calm canaries irritable, and I cry and claw all afternoon. Catenaries and dirigibles brace and breathe the living room. A loom of metal, warp woof, wimble, and thy thimble's worth of a milky moon can touch hearts larger than thy thimble. Oh, my love, oh, it was a funny little thing to be the ones to have seen. Oh, my love, oh, it was a funny little thing. It was a funny, funny little thing.
Joanna Newsom live here at WFMU. We always wait for the last note to completely decay before we break in. She's performing live here in the FMU studio, and again, I want to welcome you. Your arrival here has been greatly anticipated.
Oh, thank you.
Not just by me, but by many people. We even have an audience here. I had a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
Now, I love your voice, and a lot of people do, obviously, but sometimes artists are self-conscious about their voices. Are you self-conscious about your voice, or do you like it? You comfortable with it?
I am at this point. I certainly was self-conscious about it for years because I didn't use it up until about 2 or 3 years ago. I wrote music my whole life, but I never sang along to it because I've always had a voice that couldn't really be groomed into anything other than what it is.
And you had no vocal training?
No.
Just what comes out is what comes out naturally. Yeah. Uh-huh. You took piano lessons
I did.
for a long time.
Yeah, probably five or so years, I think.
That was your starter instrument, the piano?
It was. I wanted the harp to be my starter instrument, but I was not allowed to take harp lessons when I was like, 4 or 5 or something, and the teacher said I had to wait till I was about 10. So I did my penance in piano lessons for about 5 years until I was allowed to learn the instrument I wanted.
Why were you prohibited from?
Oh, it was her policy to not take students under a certain age, I guess.
Well, she taught piano and harp?
No, I'm sorry. The harp teacher.
Oh, okay.
That asked to take me on said she wouldn't take on any students younger than whatever certain age, I guess.
So you were 10 when you started?
I believe I was. I'm not actually sure. I think I was about 10.
And how old were you before you got your first harp? Because you didn't start out with your own harp, did you?
Well, no. I rented for years. Rented different harps. Probably, I think the first harp I owned, I got when I was in like 6th grade, and that was a smaller Celtic harp.
Now, is this as big as harps get? The one you've got now is about 6.5 feet tall?
6.5 feet tall. This is around the biggest that harps get. This is a concert harp and a pedal harp, but it's called a demi-grand. So there is a slightly larger version called a concert grand, and it has a wider soundboard and I think 2 more strings than mine has. So it can get a little bigger than this.
I never noticed the pedals, but
I
could see only. Are there 3 or are there more?
There's 7.
7, okay. It's hard to see from over here.
Yeah.
7 pedals. So it is very much like plucking a piano.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities.
Which came first, the harp or the piano? Historically.
I believe the piano forte came first. The harp in this form. I shouldn't say the piano came before the harp, but there's been harps for hundreds of years in every different culture, some version of a harp. But this version, the concert harp, came around in France semi-recently compared to many other instruments. I think that they've been working out the kinks for many years because it's so mechanically complicated. The pedals are connected to a bunch of machinery, little bits and pieces that run through the column of the harp and change key when you press on the pedals. They sharp and flat different notes, so it's kind of complicated.
So in addition to learning how to play it, you had to learn really about the technology of the harp and you also learned the history of the harp and famous harpists.
Well, I would say I have sort of patchy knowledge in both of those departments. I don't understand a lot of the ways that it works, and I don't know a lot of things about the history of the instrument, but I know enough to play it, I guess.
I'd like to get your critical perspective on something.
Okay.
Was Harpo good?
Well, he did a lot of. Can I?
Sure. Go right ahead.
He did a lot of this, which is me setting my pedals in such a way that every note that I play will sound good. So
It doesn't answer the question.
He certainly may have been good, but a lot of the stuff that he did doesn't demonstrate that. But the sounds that are popular for the harp in general, I'm sure you know, tend to be glissandi like that, and arpeggios and sort of big florid gestures and
showboating.
Yes, and that's true in contemporary music and in a lot of what symphonic music, classical music, and that sort of thing. So I think that's a sound that people are just accustomed to hear.
Yeah, and you don't do too much of that.
No, I don't. I'm not terribly interested in that. I'm much more interested in some more percussive figures and sort of rhythmic stuff, playing around with that. And I think the harp is capable of so many different textures, and people often in most forums tend to just want to hear the sort of pure sweet sound that I love, but I think it's capable of some other noises.
Well, why don't you make some noises on the harp right now? This is Joanna Newsom performing live in the WF. I didn't mean actual noises. I meant you to do a song.
Oh,
Play.
yes.
Or make noises if you want.
See, I need funny tools like pieces of paper and metal to make some.
Do you actually play it like a prepared harp?
Yeah.
You do,
There
huh?
are lots of pieces for prepared harp.
Do you play them?
Oh, do I play them?
We've got hardware here if you want it.
Well, I can do something. If I can have a strip of paper, I'll do something.
You should count a strip of paper, will you? Here.
Can I rip that?
Oh, no.
No.
Not that.
Here, you can rip this.
Okay.
Got it there.
This will take me a minute.
Wow. This could be fun, huh?
It could be.
It may not be. Let's hope it is. Joanna Newsom is going to demonstrate prepared harp here in the studio. She's actually taking a strip of paper that she's torn off of an 8.5 by 11 strip of 20-pound paper, and she is threading it through the strings of the harp.
I didn't make this up.
It sounds a lot like a kalimba.
Yes, it does
Like a
sound
thumb
like
piano.
a kalimba.
Yeah, the paper deadens the strings, which is, of course, what a prepared piano is, where you wedge things in the strings, and it deadens them and gives them a very percussive sound, which is what you achieve there with that piece of paper. That was great. Do another song, and then we'll chat a little bit more. Do 2 songs if you want. We've got time.
Okay.
You want to do 2 in a row?
Okay, let me grab some water.
Okay, we've got Joanna Newsom here in the studio at WFMU. Her new album is called The Milk-Eyed Mender. It's on Drag City Records. She's performing tonight at the Unitarian Church in Philadelphia, the corner of Chestnut and 22nd. I'm almost positive. And here she's performing live now in the FMU studios.
If you gonna come on down with your bones so white, watch while the freight trains pound into the wild, wild night. How I would love to gnaw on your bones so white, and watch while the freight trains pause paw at the wild, wild night. All these ghost towns breathing alone, my city deep in sea foam, house run sea, Barton willow, Lagunitas, Hocalico, and all these beastly bungalows stare distant like endless toads, endlessly hop down the road. Borne by wind we see southward blow, and yonder wild and blue, the wild blue yonder looms, till we are racked with room, by roads and by songs entombed. And all we wanna do is chew and chew and chew, dear one. Drive on when all we wanna do is chew and chew and chew. And if you wanna come on down, down with your bones so white, watch while the freight trains pound into the wild, wild, wild night. How I would love to know on your bones so white, and watch while the freight trains paw at the wild, wild night. Paw at the wild, wild night. Paw at the wild, wild night.
Joanna Newsom, live in the WFMU studios. We asked you to do 2 songs, so
Okay.
go right into the next one.
Sadie, why cold you carry me home and bury this bone and take this pine cone, no Lead me to water, Lord, I sure am thirsty. Down in the ditch where I nearly served you. Up in the clouds where he almost heard you. And all that we built, and all that we breathed, and all that we spilled or poured up like weeds is piled up and back, and it burns irrevocably. And we spoke up in turns till the silence crept over me. And bless you, and I deeply do, no longer resolute, and I call to you, but the water got so cold, and you do lose what you don't hold. This is an old song, these are old blues, and this is not my tune, but it's mine to use. And the seabirds, where the fear once grew, will flock with a fury, and they will bury what had come for you. And down where I darn with the milk-eyed mender, you and I, and a love so tender, stretched on a hoop where I stitched this adage. Bless our house and its heart so savage. And all that I want, and all that I need, and all that I got is scattered like seed. And all that I knew is moving away from me. And all that I know is blowing like tumbleweed. And a mealy worm in the brine will burn in a salty pyro among the fawns and ferns. And the love we hold and the love we spurn will never grow cold, no, only taciturn. And I'll tell you tomorrow, Sadie, go on home now, and bless those who sicken below, but bless us who have chosen so. And all that I got, and all that I need, I tie in a knot that I lay at your feet, and I have not forgot, but the silence crept over me. So dig up your bone, exhume your pine cone, Miss Sadie.
Has it died down? Is it okay to talk?
I'll never die down.
You had a lot of fans before you came here. You're going to have more after you leave.
Aw.
You got some emails coming in, too. They're coming into my account. I'm not reading your email. Don't worry.
Oh.
But a fellow by the name of Barry over in the UK wants to know if you're going to be playing in England anytime soon.
I will be. So far, the first tentative dates are August 16th through, do you know, Zach? I think the week following August 16th. Hopefully I'll do some UK dates, and then I believe September there's going to be some more extended touring in Europe.
Great. And, you have a website, and I've gone there, and I think it was last updated about 18 months ago. It says you have a new EP coming out soon. It doesn't even mention the Milk-Eyed Mender. So who's in charge of updating your website?
That would be me, which is why it hasn't been updated in a year and a half. Yeah, I should get on that, shouldn't I?
Well, where else can people find out about your itinerary and new releases and everything?
Well, they can go to dragcity.com. There's a tour page. They can also go to billions.com. That's the booking agency, and they'll have the dates up as well, I believe.
Great. And the biographical information on your website also is just so out of date. There's so much has happened since then, and you read that site and think, God, whatever happened to this gal? Looks like nothing much has happened in her life in the last year and a half.
Yeah, I guess, I forget that it exists. I forget that it can be looked up on the internet, and there's this web page I did sort of as an afterthought about a year ago, and, I'll update it. Or I should probably just make it not exist anymore.
Or just get a volunteer.
Get a volunteer.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of little webmasters out there who'd be more than happy to update your website periodically for you. So listening to your music, and by the way, all the songs you've done except that little, the prepared harp thing, which was a composition, that wasn't just an improv, right?
Oh, no, it was just improvised.
It was.
But it's improvised on a West African kora figure, a 3-against-4 figure that I obviously didn't make up. But
okay. But all the songs that you've done, you did Sadie and Swansea and Book of Ride On and Bridges and Balloons, are all on the album, The Milk-Eyed Mender. So if people have been emailing, say, where can they get Joanna's music? Well, there is an album out there. It's called The Milk-Eyed Mender. It's on Drag City Records. And go to dragcity.com, go to Amazon, whatever, and you can find Joanna's album. Now, another question. It's obvious to me, and I even reading an interview that you did about a year ago, that you listened to a bit of Donovan when you were growing up. But it's not really obvious that at some point you used to be obsessed with Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, well, my sophomore year of high school, I didn't listen to anything but Fleetwood Mac. I think there's a lot of stuff I've listened to that may or may not be evident in my own music.
But the Fleetwood Mac influence is in there somewhere.
I don't know if it's in there. I imagine it is. I think anything you ever listen to probably influences your own music on some level.
But you also mentioned in this interview that you listen to a lot of harp music from Senegal and Mali.
Right. Kora music. Yeah, absolutely.
Did your teacher bring this to you, or did you find it on your own and kind of explore it?
I had a teacher that I studied with every summer for about 10 years maybe at this folk music camp in Mendocino in the Redwoods called Lark in the Morning, and she was extremely well versed in all sorts of strange harp figures from around the world, and so I learned a lot of I got interested in a lot of that stuff from her and learned some figures, and then kind of looked a lot of it up on my own as well after that.
Are you still in touch with that teacher?
I am. Her name is Diana Stork, and she's a wonderful harpist in the East Bay, in Oakland, California. She's a big organizer of harp events and stuff, and a wonderful player herself.
Is there like a Harpapalooza?
A festival of harps in the Bay Area, yeah.
There is, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And she's been following your exploits recently?
I don't know if she has. I think maybe my mom sends her clippings or something.
She'd be surprised, wouldn't she?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Well, she probably didn't expect you to become a pop star, but then again, you probably didn't expect to become a pop star, did you?
I don't know. Maybe someday I'll be a pop star and find out.
You're on your way. You're on your way. We've got time for a few more songs and a few more questions, but let's do the songs, and then we'll come back to the some more questions. We've got Joanna Newsom here live in the studio at WFMU, thanks to Scott Williams, who's handling the engineering here in the studios. And we've even got, we're filming it as well. Phil has got a camera in front of Joanna. So Joanna Newsom performing live here in the FMU studios. Joanna Newsom down here proving that you don't need to be loud to be heard. She's got her harp here. It's monstrous. It's a lot bigger than she is. And you drag that thing around. It's on wheels, of course, right?
Yeah, I have wheels I attach to it, and I have a good friend who travels with me and helps me move it all the time. And I have a station wagon I stick it into.
How heavy is it?
Well, I'm not actually sure. It's not terribly heavy. I mean, I can pick it up and move it very short distances, but it's very awkward, like kind of top heavy and very strange to carry.
Now, there are smaller harps, but you don't like them.
I do like them.
Oh, you do like them?
I can't do a lot of my music on them because I like to play around with a lot of modulation and key changing and stuff that you can't do on a folk harp. I mean, you can do it a little bit because you can flip levers around to sharp or flat notes, but on a like grand scale, doing big, quick key changes and that sort of thing, it's very difficult. And I also like the huge range on this harp. Most folk harps don't have nearly so many octaves on them. So,
how many strings?
47 on mine.
Emails are coming in.
Okay.
People loving the performance.
Oh.
And one listener had a great question. I wish I'd thought of it. And he wanted to know if you've ever heard of Washington Phillips.
No, but I'm getting a thumbs up signal from Zach over there.
He was a gospel singer in the late 20s in the South who played this instrument called a dulceola. Huh. Have you ever heard of a dulceola?
No, I haven't.
It's kind of a cross between a miniature piano and a harp.
Wow.
And it has a very harp-like effect. He made 16 sides, and then he died. And he pretty much disappeared from the face of the earth. I mean, even his legacy, except these recordings which were in a vault, and they were put out, I believe, by Shawnee. All 16, the only 16 recordings that Washington Phillips made. They're really haunting.
Really?
Yeah, and the dulceola was made by some guy who sold them from the back of his truck throughout the South.
Wow.
Very, very rare instruments. You might want to check it out. We will remind you later. Zach is making
Zach has it
gestures
in his bag, actually.
You have it?
It's on my iBook.
It's on his iBook. You'll get a chance to hear Washington Phillips.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow, that's great. And really, one more question. Musical family, huh? Everybody in your family's musical,
yeah,
huh?
to some extent, yeah.
So you were encouraged.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, my family went to that camp with me I was talking about, so we all kind of have played music together in one way or another my whole life growing up.
And you mentioned in an interview that you'd like to get them all in the studio with you.
Oh, yeah, it would be awesome. I mean, my sister has a beautiful, beautiful voice, and my brother's an amazing drummer, and my mom is an awesome pianist and a conga drum player and a hammer dulcimer player, and my dad has a really good attitude. And he plays the guitar too, so I think it would be a good thing at some point.
And it doesn't hurt to grow up with Terry Riley as your neighbor.
No, he's always been a very great inspiration to me, actually. The whole time I was growing up and really actually wanted to be a composer for years. He sort of defined that to me, like his sort of extended improvised performances that he would do at the St. Joseph's Hall in Grass Valley kind of defined to me like my idea of making music at a pretty early age.
It was in Nevada City?
That's right. Nevada City and Grass Valley are kind of stuck together, and most of the performances are in Grass Valley because Nevada City is so small.
So when you refer to him as your neighbor, like how close? I mean, next door?
No, not next door.
In the community, though.
In the community, yeah.
Well, we've got, probably time for one more song.
Okay.
So why don't you do it? I do want to mention again, Joanna Newsom is performing here in the FMU studios live today, unless you're listening on the archive. And she's performing live tonight in Philadelphia at the Unitarian Church at 22nd and Chestnut. Her album is called The Milk-Eyed Mender. It's on Drag City Records. Go to dragcity.com and take it away, Joanna, another live song.
Thank you. That means no where I come from. I am
cold out waiting for the day to come. I chew my lips, oh, and I scratch my nose. Feels so good to be a rose. Oh, don't you lift me up, ooh, like I'm that shy. No, 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 just give it up. Oh, there are paths all dissolving in a row, oh, into the wishy-washy dark that cannot let go, and I cannot let go. And so I thank the Lord, ooh, and I thank His sword, though it be mincing up the morning slyly bored. Ooh, one morning without warning, like a hole. Oh, and I watch you go. There are some mornings when the sky looks like a road, and there are some dragons who are meant to have and hold, and some machines are dropped from great heights lovingly, and some great bellies ache with many bumblebees, and they sing so terribly. I do as I please, and now I'm on my knees. Your skin is something that I stir into my tea, and I am watching you, and you are starry, 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 and I'm tumbling down on the chick a frown. Well, just look around. That's why I love this town. Just see me serenaded early and celebrated sadly and dedicated hourly. Ooh, waltzing with the old button scene. Clam, crab, cockle, cowrie. Oh, just look at me. Ooh, 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 ooh,
Joanna Newsom, live here in the FMU studios. Well, judging from the early email response, your performance has had a lot of impact on a lot of people. We did have one other question from a listener Jan, wanted me to ask you how you developed your unique pronunciation of words and phrasing.
That I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just is the way that I speak. I used to have a lot of speech impediments when I was much younger, and I had
Were you
to
shy?
I was sort of shy, but I also had a really bad lisp and some other stuff, and I went to a lot of speech therapy stuff when I was younger. So I think that might have made me have almost the reverse effect of making me talk strangely, because I was very self-conscious of the way I formed words. And I think it's also a little bit what we call a rural accent, which is just you live in a town that has fewer than 2,000 people and you talk kind of funny, I guess.
You mentioned words. You're also a writer. I mean, you really enjoy stringing words together.
Yeah, sure.
First time I ever heard someone use the word poetaster in a song, and I should have looked it up, but I didn't. I don't even know what it means, but you rhymed it with master and disaster, I think.
Yeah.
What's a poetaster?
It's like a false poet. Someone who's posing as a poet or who writes bad poetry.
Well, it works in the song Inflammatory Writ.
Thank you.
Very nice. We're out of time.
Okay.
We've got a fellow who goes by the name of Kenny G coming up momentarily to take over the WFMU airwaves. Joanna, I want to thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been lovely to be here.
And Philadelphia tonight.
That's right.
Unitarian Church, 22nd and Chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's still some tickets. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
You go online and just Google Joanna Newsom, Unitarian, Chestnut, Philadelphia, and you'll find where you can get some tickets, and maybe it's not sold out if you want to go see her. And after Philadelphia, where?
Well, all over the place. We're going down through the South. We already hit kind of the middle of the country, up the upper middle of the country, and then we're gonna end up in go through L.A. and end up in San Francisco again.
You going down to D.C. maybe?
Arlington. We're going to, yeah.
Okay, Baltimore you're going to hit?
Yeah.
Baltimore. Okay, well, check dragcity.com. They've got her itinerary there. And the album's called The Milk-Eyed Mender. It's on Drag City Records. Thank you very much, Joanna.
Thank you.
And we will certainly have you back here.
Oh, I'd love that.
Okay.
Thanks.
This is WFMU, East Orange, WXHD Mount Hope. Stay tuned for Kenny. Kenny, it's your show. Do you have track number 1?
There's only one.
There's only one. Stay tuned for Kenny.